Hello and welcome to today's version of LinkedIn Live with the Keynote Curators. I'm Seth Deckman. I'm your Keynote Curator. Thank you for joining us on Wednesday around the noon hour Eastern Time, where we bring you current topics, trends, insights about all things having to do with keynote speakers and how we here at the Keynote Curators curate the speakers for you for your unique event. Today, I want to talk about an important topic, which is how the keynote speaker can make your event. The other side of the coin is how they can break your event. A great, extraordinary, incredibly excellent keynote speaker can make your event. And anything less than that can and probably will break your event. So what are the things that we can do to make certain, to ensure that the keynote speaker you hire, that you choose, that you select for your event is going to make your event? Because we know, look, keynote speakers play a crucial role in your event. It's not the whole event. Everything doesn't pivot on that, but they play a crucial and critical role. It could be having to do with the marketing, with the messaging. But, the power that the keynote speaker has to be able to make your event, depends or kind of hinges on a couple of different things. First of all, the drawing power. What is the drawing power of the keynote speaker? We hear this over and over again. We want somebody well-known. We want somebody famous. We want a recognizable name. This is a very tough needle to thread because for each individual client, each individual buyer, each individual event, based on the budgets that they have, will determine what a name recognition will be. So, for example, we've had really big Hollywood names. Will Smith, we've had Julie Andrews, we've had many, many other Oscar winners, and they have a drawing power. But unless you're curating the message and unless you're aligning with all of the pre-event work building up to the day of the event and when the conversation happens, it depends on how much you're going to yield on that drawing power of a big name. When you have the drawing power, you can leverage that in your marketing. You can leverage that in your online, social media activities to increase and expand visibility and ultimately registration and attendance. It's a lot's going to have to do with their status and their influence that they have. It's going to have to do with their reputation, and their ability to attract a larger audience. When we do these events with very, very big names, often they're private, closed, exclusive events. So you're limited and constrained on the amount of people that you have. But that element brings an exclusivity to it, brings that VIP sensibility and feeling to it. When you have somebody who's lesser known, that has a lesser drawing power, it doesn't mean that they don't have a good message or that they have less credibility. It's just that on their name alone, they're not going to have that drawing power. Another area where the speaker is going to be able to make your event is in the area of the expertise and knowledge. Many events have themes or topics, whether it's connecting or hitting the peak performance. But then within that, there might be for that year or all of the events for the organization over that course of a year are aligned with some type of messaging or theme or topic. And the expertise and knowledge that's brought in by the keynote speaker is something that can align with, and not only align with, but build upon what's already established as far as messaging goes. Their experience, their insights, their unique perspectives, and their knowledge in a specific field are all valuable information that are going to inform, educate, and inspire your audience. A speaker that can deliver that type of engaging content, which has expertise, knowledge, and delivered in an appealing, attractive, and even, dare I say, entertaining way, will be able to leave that lasting impression and make your attendees asking about what's next, the next session, the next day, even the next year. Conversely, or the other side of the coin is, if a speaker fails to connect with the audience or lacks the proper expertise and the relevant subject matter, it can diminish the overall impact of the event. But that's where we come in. That's where the keynote curators come in. We work shoulder to shoulder with you, hand in hand, conferencing with your teams, getting on the phone, getting on Zooms, and making sure that what's delivered is hand in glove, that what's delivered is fully aligned with what your bullseye, what your target is, what the home run would be. Another aspect of how your keynote speaker can make your event. We're talking about making the event where there's buzz, where there's a spark, where there's electricity, and where there's a real sense of excitement around it, is an engaging and dynamic delivery. Not everybody is over the top, energetic, singing, screaming, running around, but you want to bring somebody in who's not delivering necessarily a book report. It might be the hot topic. It might be really rich content. It might be a subject matter that's very of the moment and very relevant and very important, but it's got to be engaging and it's got to be dynamic. And a speaker who can effectively communicate those ideas, share their stories, and use the presentation, whether it's their own speaking, music, video, photos, engaging the audience in some participatory activities, that's going to leave a positive and lasting impression. I can think of a time when we brought in a speaker who is the owner of an indie racing team, and it's an all-female indie racing team. And there was a lot of buzz and a lot of excitement about it. This particular event and the audience of attendees had a natural inclination and appetite for all things having to do with automobile racing and everything to do with the car industry, Formula One, Indy, NASCAR, you name it, dirt tracks. They loved this. The speaker was fantastic. Her message was on point. And what we were able to do with that presentation was implement some scenes from the Indy, from the pit, from the racing, from the start, some behind the scenes kind of in the engineering and the mechanic garage that were able to build up the engagement of and the dynamic energy of the speech that was already really on point and totally focused on what the topic at hand was and what the messaging was. And that's the way that it's done. That's the way your speaker is going to make your event. Another thing is the speaker providing a context or a framework, really an energy around being connected so that there's networking opportunities, whether it's an activation within their speech, whether it's a short where they stop for a moment and do a little bit of paired sharing to have people connect and talk a little bit amongst themselves, maybe even 15, 30 seconds. It doesn't take a lot to get people engaged on just a little bit of a deeper level. And then you want to have these overall memorable moments, whether it's the photo shoot, whether it's a book signing, whether it's a selfie line. Speakers, recently we had Magic Johnson do a great selfie line where he came out into the audience and went table by table, one by one, and let everybody take selfies. He spoke during it. He engaged with the people taking selfies. He also gave a little bit of a technological. Some people had trouble doing the selfies, so he gave a little bit of technological advice, if you will, a technique on how to execute a good selfie. And it was fun, and there was a buzz, and those type of memorable experiences where people leave feeling served and feeling like they got something special, that's also a way to have your speaker make your event. So meeting planners, your journey for a meeting planner and their journey to find the perfect keynote speaker. You know, when you're on that journey of finding the perfect keynote speaker, it can be long and winding road, as John and Paul have said. But at the end of the day, when you get to your destination and you've chosen the speaker, they're going to make your event because you've done the legwork. You've got an engaging, dynamic, relevant, expert in their topic area speaker who can connect with the audience, provide special, unique opportunities of engaging and networking so that when your attendees leave, they're smarter, they're more engaged, they're more connected with the event and the organization, and they're asking about next year. You know, the choice for a keynote speaker is critical because you can build your marketing on it. You can build a lot of pre-event and post-event activation with the speaker and the organization and your organization. But whether it's a big name to draw a lot of people into the room, or it's a big idea to get people to connect and be hungry and really anxious and interested about, well, not necessarily anxious, but have a lot of interest about the topic and pull them in. That's what we want. We want to avoid a disengaged audience. We want to avoid a diminished message. We want to have all of that stuff be exploding with spark. So have your speaker be a crucial piece of your event that is going to make your event. And here at the Keynote Curators, that's what our focus, that's what our mission is, that's what our commitment is, that we find the perfect keynote speaker for your unique event. Thank you for joining us today. Every Wednesday around the noon hour Eastern time, we come to you live with the newest tips, trends, activations, and anything having to do with keynote speakers in your event. So we'll see you next week. Feel free to reach out to us at thekeynotecurators.com. You can direct message us here on LinkedIn, find us on YouTube and all other social platforms, as well as TikTok and Instagram. So again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.